Hi and welcome to this week's video. My name is Cynthia Wakio, the Communication and Events Manager at Corporate Staffing Services. And today we're going to be talking about what CEOs expect from HR leaders. And I'm joined by Paminas, who is going to be taking us through this discussion. Karibuni sana and karibu Paminas to the channel.
Thank you Wakio for having me.
I'm glad to have you.
Yeah.
So you're a CEO of Corporate Staffing.
Yes.
So as a leader and from your experience, what do CEOs expect from HR leaders?
I would say a lot, because HR is a key component of any organization. So from my perspective, and also from the many employers that we recruit for, and on at any given time, any month, we normally get, I would say, 3 to 5 requests for senior HR managers to fill for those positions. So I've gotten to interact with many business owners and even board members, who are looking to fill those HR positions. So based on our discussion, I would say the key thing that a business leader is looking for in a HR leader is a trusted advisor. That's what I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. Whether it's the CEO, whether it's the board, they are trusted. They are looking for, can you be a trusted HR advisor? Yeah. And especially at that top level.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what does that take?
So for you to be a trusted HR advisor, the question you'd wish to answer is, do you have a good understanding of the business? That's point number one,
yes.
Especially at the top level. Because at the top level, we don't expect you to be doing leave forms. We don't expect you to be doing time and attendance. We don't expect you to be doing, the basics. We don't expect you to be calling people, shortlisting people for interviews and all that. We want you to be adding value to the business. And the only way to be able to add value to the business is if you understand what are we trying to achieve with this business? What is the strategy we have? What are the challenges we have? Yeah. How do we navigate through the various things that are coming up, whether it's COVID, whether it's technology, whether it's government regulations? How can the firm, survive all these things that are happening? So that's number one, someone who understands that. Number two is someone who has very good people management skills, because you can't talk about HR and you don't talk about people and productivity. So how are you going to deliver if you don't have good people management skills? Yeah. The other thing I would say, which is very important, is stakeholder management, in the sense that HR, you'll be interacting with very many stakeholders who have different interests.
Yes.
And sometimes these interests are at loggerheads with each other. For example, let's say there's a union. What is the work of the union? The work of the union, a lot of times, is to champion the employee's interest. And sometimes that may be contra to the business interest. So, for example, I know of a HR manager who, one of the key challenges they had was during COVID, whereby, according to the CBA, they're supposed to have, every year they increase the employee salary. And COVID, it's not like we got a notice that next year we're going to have COVID, and yet you also have an agreement. How do you navigate that? Where you've already promised someone a 10% increase, but the business cannot afford, and the employees are adamant that, we agreed to this. Yeah. So dealing with people like unions, dealing with government bodies, dealing with all these manner of stakeholders is very important. So I would say top of mind, those are some of the things that I would say you need to possess for you to be a trusted HR advisor.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you want the leadership make decisions from an informed point.
Precisely, yes. And that's the only time your impact will be felt, Cynthia.
Yes.
Yeah.
So finally, as we wrap up, what do HR leaders need to ensure they see to this?
I think for me, number one is to adopt a very practical approach to the HR and the people management aspect. Yeah. There's a time we were hiring, and it was a replacement. So we were looking for a HR business partner. And I was asking the CEO, what would you be looking out in this candidate? What would make a candidate stand out? Yeah. And they told me the person we were looking to replace, the way they used to operate is, it's a logistic company. So the outgoing HR would come in the morning. The first 1 hour she would spend interacting with the team, getting to make sure that the dispatch is happening. So this is not, she was quite hands-on. So this is not the person who reports, I'm the HR, I'm the big boss. She sits behind the desk and her work was to give instruction.
Yeah.
So this person was so practical that she understood the client, she understood the people who were servicing the clients, the challenges. Sometimes she'd even go to the field to be able to see how are they interacting, what challenges are they facing. Yeah, so the CEO told me, I want someone who's practical. I don't want someone who's theoretical. Because you studied HR, but I'm not. So if you come with your technical HR language, how is that helping me? Yeah. But if we come and say, this is the problem that we are trying to solve, then we'll be on the same page. So that's number one. Try and as much as possible to be practical. The world of work does not need theory. And in fact, the more you start using that HR technical language, you lose your audience. And here being the CEO or the board. The second thing is to adopt a mentality of continuous learning. Things keep changing. So the things which were there 5 years ago may not be relevant today. And tomorrow again will be something different. Yes. So continuous learning in the sense that if it's short courses, go for these short courses. YouTube, make use of YouTube. There are a lot of resources online. Some of them free, some of them you have to pay a little bit. Yeah, because the reality is also, and I see many people doing this mistake, is you get into a comfort zone. And what you don't realize is the assistant you hired 2-3 years ago, within 2-3 years, they'll have caught up with you. Yes. And then the management will be wondering, why should I pay you Cynthia $500,000? And the assistant who's earning 150,000, they are doing even more than you. Yeah. You find yourself being declared redundant. That's a fact, simply because you're not adding value. Yeah. So when you adopt continuous learning, you always be on the lookout for new information. You be on the lookout of how do we do something, differently. And that way someone will be able to see, oh, okay, Cynthia is adding value, and you remain relevant. Yeah.
One of my takeaways from this discussion is being also data-driven, being a people's person, and being all-rounded as a HR.
You can see you're learning a lot of HR from me. Maybe I should give you a certificate.
Maybe you should.
At the end of this video shoots. Yeah, and thank you for bringing up that. Part of you being a trusted HR advisor is being able to support your causes. So if you come and you're telling me, oh, we need to have in place medical cover. So why are we having it in place? What impact will it have on the employees? How much is it going to cost us? And all that, you need to support it with data. And that is why nowadays we have HR analytics. Yes. So if you're also not conversant with that, you're not going to go far, because people will be looking at you, oh, these are suggestions, they are nice things to have, but you've not made a business case. And goes back to what I was saying, HR analytics, it was not there 10 years ago. It wasn't. People, HRs were not expected to appreciate numbers. But because back then, it was assumed it was the work of finance. But then you see now it has moved to HR. HR also needs to support its causes with numbers, tangible evidence that this is what we are doing, this is what we are championing, and this will be the end results, and you can only do that through numbers, not stories. People who do communication are the ones who do stories.
Thank you so much for that. No need to attack our feet.
No. I'm just teaching facts.
All right. Okay, thank you for those tips.
Karibu sana.
And thank you for watching this channel. I hope you've learned a thing or two. And for more tips, practical tips on HR and advice, please subscribe to our channel, share this video, like, and leave a comment for us to see. Thank you, and see you next time.